As promised, here's a follow-up to my first vendor market of the season. So the vendor market was April 5th, and it is held in a parking lot, kind of a busy area here in my town. Um, it's right behind a Target and a Chick-fil-A and a shopping center. And so I've been to it before. I think last year was the very first year of this particular market. It's an outdoor market. And it's held every other Saturday. I think it's the first and third Saturday of the month. So I would guess there were probably maybe 20 or so vendors at the market. And the organizer did say that we had a 65% vendor return rate. So vendors that have been to previous markets of hers. So that's pretty good. And then there were 175 shoppers. So it actually wasn't high traffic, which was surprising because last weekend here where I live, it was 90 degrees the first weekend of April. 90 degrees. So I'm not looking forward to summer. But it was bright, beautiful, sunny day. So I was expecting a lot of people out. But I will say there were lots of other things going on. We had a major music festival that was happening downtown, as well as April 5th happened to be the hands-off protests around the country as well. And we had one here as well. So people were probably, either off at the music festival or off at the protest, plus all of the regular activities that people do. People with children and, are always busy with sports or whatever have you. So here are my results. I made $317, which again, I think was fantastic for 175 people coming to the market. $317. The market fee was $45. I rented a generator. So that was $85. So my all-in was a little more than $130 than I normally would put into a market. The reason that I rented a generator and spent that extra cash was because this was the first market where I was going to try my t-shirt bar idea. So if you're not familiar with the t-shirt bar, normally, let me back up and say this. So normally what I do is I make the t-shirts and bring them already completed, already made to my vendor markets. I typically sell small through extra large, and believe it or not, medium is my best selling size, and then large. So small and extra larges don't do as well in this particular market. Which was something I learned last year. But this year I decided I wanted to do a t-shirt bar. So essentially a t-shirt bar is where you come as a customer, you pick out your design. So I have my designs in a folder, and you pick your t-shirt color and your t-shirt size, and I make it on site for you. So I rented the generator, I brought my heat press, I brought all the tools that I needed to make the t-shirts. I had all the t-shirts, small through extra large. I think I have maybe five or six colors, maybe 7 colors of t-shirts. So I had those all in small through extra large. And here's the interesting thing. So I do have a customer who is a regular purchaser, and I love her to death. She's a faithful customer, and she's a nice person too. And she loves my t-shirts and my designs. So I had advertised on social media I was going to be at this event. She lives right down the street. So she came and purchased 3 t-shirts from me. I fired up the generator, plugged in my heat press. It's started right up. I was like, yay, this is going to go great. Interestingly enough, the hotter the heat press got, so I have to get it up to, 320 degrees, right, to press a shirt. The hotter it got, you could hear the generator going, and so my little brain went, oh, this generator may actually not be powerful enough to operate my heat press. And this is the heat press. I love this heat press, but this is not the one I took. This sucker actually pulls more juice than the one that I took. This is a Heat Press Nation heat press signature series, which FYI, if you need a heat press, those are the ones to get. Heat Press Nation's fantastic. But anyway, I digress. So I didn't take this one. I actually bought a second one that's a little less heavy. This sucker is really, really heavy. Very, high quality, heavy duty press. So I bought a separate one to take. It's not quite as powerful as this one. And I thought that I was going to be able to use this particular generator that I rented from Home Depot with that press. The press, I think, pulls about, I don't know, 16 or 1700 watts. And I had a 2000 watt generator. Usually, I don't know, you have to take off a couple of hundred watts because that's how the generator runs. Like it's 2000 watts startup, but running, it's 1800 watts or so. But apparently it wasn't powerful enough to run my press. So I actually didn't end up pressing the shirts on site. I don't live very far from where the market was. So I just ran home, pressed her shirts, came back and brought them to her. So that was kind of a fail. But I'm glad that I did it because I learned so much. One of the things I learned was I need a more powerful generator. So I'm going to be trolling the marketplaces to see maybe if I can find a used one for a little less than a new one would cost me. But I did learn that there's demand for pressing on site. So that's good to know. I also had another individual who was interested in t-shirts, but I did not have their size. So they needed, I think maybe 3X. And I do shirts in larger sizes, but I normally do those to order. So if I have someone that contacts me and says, oh, I'd love this print, but I need, a 2X, I'll order those shirts for that individual. I don't typically carry those sizes. I don't know. We'll see if I continue to do the t-shirt bar and find that I'm getting requests for larger sizes. I'll stock those too. I would really like to shift my business model to more of the t-shirt bar. Right now, I think if you saw my other video, you saw that my setup is really, I'm a jack of all trades, right? I like to do it all. But anyway, so last year when I started this endeavor, oh, by the way, I'm not looking at anything. That's my thinking, my thinking face. Last year when I started this endeavor, I had glass cups, t-shirts, and some jewelry, like little costume jewelry, nothing, like not sterling silver or gold or gemstones or anything like that. Just little costume jewelry that like I would buy the charms and I would make it. And then enamel pins. I do love my enamel pins. So that was mostly what I had. I had some bedazzle kits. So what I call bedazzle kits, which are, and again, if you saw my previous video, balloon dog figures, 3D balloon dog figures with all the gems and the glue and everything in it. So it's a kit that you can just pick up and go. And that was basically what I had. I absolutely love it, right? Oh, and I did have the clay bead bracelets because those are very popular. They're so much fun to make. They're very relaxing. But that's kind of what I started with. And then as I kept going, I would add things for specific, events I was going to do. So for example, I had Easter t-shirts. I bought stuffed Easter peeps, right? They're 15 inches, that, pretty good size. I had those. I was personalizing those, but not on site. Trying to think what else I had. So that was Easter. And then I had, like at Halloween, I had Halloween glass cups, Halloween acrylic cups, Halloween earrings, Halloween pins, Halloween t-shirts, of course. And I had Halloween, oh gosh, these are so popular, Halloween balloon dog Bedazzle kits. Folks went nuts for those. They were so popular. I must have sold, I don't know, 60 of those, and it was, a little balloon dog. He's about 3 or 4 inches tall. And I had a black one and I had an orange one, and they had little witches hats that you could put on them, and little brooms, and like a little what's that called? The witches cauldron. There, that's the word I'm looking for, cauldron, in it, right? And so little accessories to go with it, and people just scooped those up, and that was a ton of fun to have those, right? People were like, "Oh my gosh, it's got all the accessories too." So things like that, right? And then at Christmas time, I had Christmas t-shirts, of course, and I actually had red balloon dogs for Christmas with little Christmas trees and little Santa hats. So that's kind of what I did last year. This year, what I wanted to do was really kind of not niche down, but get more specific about what I offered, because I felt like I was sort of all over the place last year. Um, I I don't really want to be the vendor that only has one thing. Like, I don't want to just sell jewelry or just sell balloon dog kits, or whatever. But I did want to get more into I'll say personalization, or making things on site for people. So anyway, let me go back to the results of this particular show. 317, take out 130 for the table plus, or the space plus the generator. So not too bad. I think it's 4 hours or so. I would, yeah, if I hadn't rented the generator, it would have been a bit more in terms of cash that I had. But again, I still think very successful given everything that was going on that day. I learned a lot about the generator and the heat press, so that was successful. And I had the opportunity to introduce a new product. So over the course of from December to the beginning of April, I actually got into the blind date with a book idea. And so I had those. This was my first show having those, and I sold 5 of them. And what I do is I source the books from my neighborhood. We have a lot of avid readers in my neighborhood, and they buy books brand new. They read them once and they sell them for $5 or less, and they're brand new books. So I source the books and wrap them and put, let's see, what did I put in it? I had 3 stickers, a book review sheet, a pen or like a highlighter. I had 2 bookmarks. Well, one acrylic bookmark, and then like one of those jumbo paper clips is what I decided to put in them, as well as sticky notes, page tabs. I think that's all I had in them. So it was actually quite a bit, plus the book, right? It's essentially a brand new book. And then, nice, pretty wrapping paper that could be recycled. That's important. So those went over really well. I also introduced bookmarks. So I have both magnetic bookmarks and the jumbo paper clips. I sold either 2 or 3 of the magnetic bookmarks, and I actually sold a bunch of the jumbo paper clips. So people really like those. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, so that was this April 5th craft show. So bonus, I just finished another show today, and this one I decided to focus on Easter because it was a family Easter egg hunt event. And I had some Easter things left over from last year. So, one of the things I offered again was personalization on site. The 15-inch stuffed bunnies, stuffed Easter peeps, personalizing those on site. And I had 13, and I sold them all. And I was shocked at that, but I was grateful for that. And then I took I had Easter bedazzle kits. So again, it was a wooden bunny, but in the shape of the peep, with all of the rhinestones and glue and everything you need to make those. And I had 11 of those, though I feel like I had more than that. But no, I had way more than that. I had more than 11. I don't know the exact amount I had, but I sold about half of those. So that was really good. And that was basically what I had. I did have some blind boxes that I put together for $5 each. Sold several of those. Yeah, and that was basically what I had. So this show today was no vendor fee, and it was just 2 hours. And I sold $266 in those 2 hours. So that's pretty good. And it took me about a half an hour to set up and half an hour to tear down because I didn't take as much as I normally do. So I've got another show tomorrow. This one is in what we call Midtown, and it's in a fairly well-to-do area. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I'm interested to see how this one goes. Tomorrow I'm actually going to narrow down a little more, and I'm taking my blind date with a book and the bookmarks and my cups, glass cups with me as well. And then I'm also taking t-shirts. So interested to see how it goes tomorrow. I will keep you posted and let you know the results of that one. That one's actually a bit more money to get into. It's about $125, I think, for that one. But I did it, I think, 2 or 3 times last year. And the first time, I want to say I sold right at $600. And the second time, I think I sold like 500. So, and it's 4 hours. So, I still think those are pretty good totals to do, a 1-day event. And I want to say it happens once a month, or maybe it's once every other month. I don't know. But, right, I still think that's pretty good for a day's work in a vendor event. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you have, let me know. If you have any other questions that I can answer, I'm happy to answer and tell you, what I did or how much I make or gross or whatever. Yeah, happy to answer any questions you have. Give me a like, give me a subscribe if you want to keep up to date with what's going on, and drop some comments, and I'll be happy to answer you. Take care.